The ex-boyfriend of a victim in the Idaho student murders is heartbroken that half of America thinks he slaughtered the love of his life, and 3 of her friends, a relative has said. Victim Kaylee Goncalves, 21, broke up with her boyfriend of 5 years, Jack Ducour, 22, just 3 weeks before the quadruple murder which has baffled police. Ducour was ruled out by police soon after the November 13 atrocity but has been dogged by ridiculous conspiracies, his aunt Brooke Miller said. She added, "He's not only lost the love of his life, and what we all thought and he probably thought as well, would be his future wife, get married and have kids and all of that." Miller told the New York Post, "Half of America thinks he could be responsible for the killings." More than a month has passed since Goncalves and fellow University of Idaho students Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were all stabbed to death inside the 3-story off-campus home. Cops have so far discerned that the slayings occurred between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., and not much else. Moscow Police Chief James Fry, who oversee the small city of 25,000, has said he has no clue who or where the killer is, and has faced criticism. Miller said Ducour, a mechanical engineering major at the university, was obviously sad about the breakup, but the couple were still friends. She said Goncalves was planning on moving away, and the split was amiable. Days after the murders, it emerged Goncalves and Mogen called Jack at least 7 times shortly before their deaths, in the very early hours of the morning. Goncalves' parents, Steve and Christy, have said they stand by Jack 1000%. Madison Mogen, 21, top left, Kaylee Goncalves, 21, bottom left, Ethan Chapin, 20, center, and Xana Kernodle, 20, right, were murdered in their off-campus university home on November 13. Chief James Fry, who heads up Moscow police, in the small city of 25,000 people, admitted he has no clue where the killer is. He is asking the public for help with the investigation. The house in Moscow, Idaho, where the killings happened. Goncalves' ex-boyfriend has been ruled out as a suspect but has been dogged by conspiracy theories online, his aunt revealed. Goncalves' parents, Steve and Christy, have also said they stand by Jack 1000%. Miller dismissed speculation online that her nephew committed the murders as ridiculous conspiracies, adding, "We all know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there's no way that Jack would ever do anything like that to anybody." She said Ducour is struggling with the thought of returning to the university. It's hard for him to think about going back to Moscow because his life there was very involved with Kaylee's, she said. Miller is behind a Give Send Go fundraiser to collect $20,000 to help the Goncalves family fund a private investigator and legal team to help solve the case. "The very last thing that this family wants to happen is for it to become a cold case," she told the Post. University of Idaho alumni Cole Alternator, who lived on the home's 2nd floor in 2021, suggested the victims may have heard the killer's footsteps in the creaky, old property Kaylee and Madison were found on the top floor of the Moscow, Idaho home. College lovers Chapin and Kernodle were found in a 2nd-floor bedroom, where Alternator had lived as a student, while survivors Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk were sleeping on the 1st floor. Each floor has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Alternator, who graduated in 2022, lived in a bedroom on the 2nd floor of the house, directly above one of the 1st-floor bedrooms. Her comments come as an ex-tenant of the house where 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death suggested the victims may have heard the killer enter the house because every footstep can be heard in the creaky, old property. Each floor has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Alternator, who graduated in 2022, lived in a bedroom on the 2nd floor of the house, directly above one of the 1st-floor bedrooms. He described Friday how tenants could hear footsteps resonate throughout virtually every part of the home. "It's a very creaky, old house," Alternator, who lived at the home during his junior year, told Fox News and several other outlets in a series of interviews. "You can hear the footsteps on every floor." He added to ABC News, "You can't walk up any of the stairs or on any of the floors without everybody in the house knowing it." Alternator, a former track standout at the school who lived on the floor where college lovers Chapin and Kernodle, both 20, were found, went on to recall how when he lived there, his roommates below him could hear virtually everything he did in his room. "The person who lived below me always said he could hear me walking around," Alternator told Fox News. "I had a desk and a rolling chair, and he could hear that roll around." He added the home, set in a cul-de-sac called Fratlantis by students due to its proximity to Fraternity Row, also boasted poor insulation, a ventilation system that allowed tenants to hear everybody talking throughout the house. A yellow rose, being the school color, is laid at a memorial in front of the house where the University of Idaho students were murdered in the early hours of November 13. He said he and his roommates were used to the noises and eventually learned to tune them out. The neighborhood, Alternator added, boasted a very active party life, which carried over into the house. "A lot of students are very familiar with the inside of the home," he described. "At parties, people would hop the fence and just, walk away if the cops came." In response to public outcry over a lack of results in their investigation, police recently released some details offering insight into the final movements of the victims on the night of the slayings. They said Goncalves and Mogan went to a local bar, stopped at a food truck and then caught a ride home with a private party around 1:56 a.m., according to a police timeline of the evening. Chapin and Kernodle, meanwhile, were at the Sigma Chi house just a short walk away, and returned to Kernodle's room around 1:45 a.m., police said. Two other roommates, 19-year-olds Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, were also out that evening, but returned home by 1 a.m., police said. They didn't wake up until later that morning. They have said they did not hear anything strange the night of the murders.